Tonight, strike action brings a near total shutdown on the Tube. Londoners bear the brunt of a bitter row over working hours. And with the walkout going on all week, sympathy from some commuters is already wearing thin.
I tell you what the solution is, driverless trains and sack the damn lot of them.
The RMT is unhappy about the way workers are treated and wants a shorter working week. But Tube bosses say workers' demands are simply unaffordable. We also hear about the impact of the strike on businesses. Also tonight, with nearly 900 arrests at one rally, can police cope with London's ongoing wave of protests? A rare honour for Epping actor Ray Winstone. Find out why he was recreated in clay and what he has to say about recent demonstrations in his hometown. And a true musical legend, Casey from Casey and the Sunshine Band, on an exciting project coming to the West End. Good evening. It couldn't get much worse on London's Tube network as workers unhappy about pay and conditions walked out on strike. And the impact was huge. Trains were often nowhere to be seen, stations were closed, and patience wore thin at bus stops. The strike, which will last most of the week, is making life difficult for commuters. The RMT union says the action is essential because members are worried about shift patterns and working too many hours. All this under a mayor who, during his election campaign in 2017, vowed he would end tube strikes if he were elected. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
Trying to catch a bus was not for the faint-hearted. This was Paddington, where those who could squeeze in counted themselves lucky. Those who couldn't had a long wait.
I took a bus from where I am, I'm in Redbridge, all the way to Ilford, then from there Elizabeth line in. So I've been travelling nearly 3 hours now.
I'm guessing that this is the bus stop for the 27, but there's no sign of it on the board, and I don't know where I'm going.
I tell you what the solution is, driverless trains and sack the damn lot of them.
At the Piccadilly line depot at Northfields in Ealing, nothing was moving. Almost all of the tube was at a standstill, forcing Londoners to find other ways to work. Nowhere was the pressure on the rest of the transport more evident than here at Paddington. It's just after 8 o'clock in the morning, and the escalators to the Elizabeth line are swamped. At one point, commuters were stopped from going down to the platforms because of overcrowding. London's bike hire schemes came into their own, although they weren't much use to some travellers. Helen, Lindy, Robert and their luggage landed in London after a long flight from Australia.
We are trying to get to King's Cross, so we got the Heathrow Express, and then they said catch a cab, that would be quicker. But we went to the line where the cab was and it was very, very long.
This is what should have been a smooth transition, is a bit chaotic.
There were a handful of shuttle services on parts of the Central, Northern and Metropolitan lines, but that was it. Tube workers have been offered a 3.5% pay rise, but talks involving the RMT union are deadlocked. The stumbling block is the union's demand that its members should work fewer hours. Instead of a 35-hour week, the union wants a 32-hour week. And instead of 5 days, it wants a 4-day week. The union claims some tube workers are exhausted.
We're back to the passenger numbers pre-COVID, 5 million journeys a day. We're doing that with 2,000 fewer staff. And what that's done is it's put a lot of pressure on people. The shifts have become more extreme. Dead early starts, 4 in the morning, 1 a.m. finishes, working around the weekends and bank holidays.
Well, TfL have made clear that they can't afford their workers working fewer hours for more pay, but they are willing to talk to RMT and other trade unions whenever there's a dispute to try and resolve things amicably. Ultimately, these sorts of differences are resolved amicably. That's why I'd encourage the RMT to get back around the table.
TfL says the tube won't be back to normal until mid-morning on Friday. Simon Harris, ITV News, West Brompton.
A tube strike is the last thing London businesses need. Many are already facing all sorts of financial pressures. And today, a lack of customers and staff unable to get into work really added to the strain. Here's Carolyn Sim.
Commuters want coffee and shops want to serve it. But the tube strike is slowing business. Normally from 7 to 8, we know how many people we see. We already were down on that. So what can you do? Nothing.
Dilietto's has been on Fleet Street for over 100 years. It can just about cope with the cancelled catering orders this week, but others might not.
Anything like this, sometimes it's a make or break for some small businesses. If you're talking about 1 week not taking money, you still have to pay wages. So it's just chaotic.
Round the corner, all the seats are empty at this barber's.
All of a sudden, when the strikes hit, then there's cancellations, obviously left, right and centre. So without a choice, we just got to sit here and bear and grin it. There's nothing we can do about it.
4 days of strikes could lose London's retail and hospitality industry millions. In the West End, shows will go on, but it will be quieter.
For every £1 spent in theatre, £1.40 is spent in the local economy. So having the train strikes is a real hit on the other businesses as well as theatre.
Big arenas are taking a hit too, with Post Malone and Coldplay gigs at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and Wembley postponed. Some fans won't be able to make it.
Because we've travelled all the way from Guernsey, we now don't get to see him because it's been postponed, so we have to now fly back tomorrow and completely miss it. Yeah, it's rubbish.
Charlie Gilks runs 15 bars across London. Cahoots is designed to look just like a tube station, but the difference is it'll actually be open.
We've already seen about 50% of our bookings cancel for this week. We really just did not expect the strike to go ahead, and we really hoped it wouldn't. What we're really worried about now is, does this become rolling strikes again? We dealt with the train strikes a couple of years ago, and we're now worried going into our busiest quarter, our key Christmas trading period, that is there yet more uncertainty.
And businesses expect things will only get worse as the week drags on. Carolyn Sim, ITV News.
And the strike isn't over yet. Simon, we're going to have to get used to all this disruption, at least for a few more days.
Getting around London has been quite a challenge today, and tomorrow could be even more difficult. Because alongside the strike on the Underground, there's a strike on Tuesday and Thursday on the Docklands Light Railway. It also involves the RMT, but this one isn't about hours, it's about pay. The union has rejected the same 3.4% it's prepared to accept, it would seem, for underground workers. Now, it's clear many people chose to work from home today. Transport for London says the number of tap-ins involving Oyster and contactless cards was down by a fifth. Far more people were on the buses and on the overground, much busier than normal, as too was the Elizabeth line, with the number of people using it up by a third. Interesting statistics too from some of the bike hire companies. Line Bikes said its usage was up 60%, Boris Bikes up 70%, and another one, Forest e-Bikes, said the number of people using its bikes was up by 120%. But it's been good weather today. It might be less attractive to go by bike when it rains later in the week. For more information on how the disruption might affect you, go to itv.com/London.
OK, Simon, thank you. A pensioner who attempted to smuggle cocaine worth more than £600,000 into the UK, hidden in his mobility scooter, has been jailed. 8 kilograms of the drug was found in the back seat panel of Ronald Lord's scooter after he was stopped at Gatwick Airport. The discovery was made after Border Force staff x-rayed his vehicle. The 71-year-old claimed to have been on a 7-day holiday to Barbados and that he was coming to the UK to see the sights. A teenage boy has appeared in court accused of attempted murder over an alleged arson attack at an Indian restaurant in East London. Staff and customers were inside India Aroma in Gants Hill when 3 masked males walked in the entrance. Petrol was allegedly poured around the premises before it was engulfed in flames. And a new work understood to be by the street artist Banksy at the Royal Courts of Justice has already been covered up. The artwork in central London was concealed by metal barriers. A photo posted on Banksy's social media showed a judge attacking a protester. A spokesperson for the court said it was a listed building and removed to retain its original character. After a weekend which saw nearly 900 people arrested at Palestine Action protest, there's concern about the pressure being put on the police. Walthamstow MP Stella Creasy raised an urgent question in the House of Commons today. And the body that represents officers had something to say too. Antoine Allen is following the story for us. Antoine, what did Stella Creasy have to say?
Well, the fact that hundreds of people were arrested at the weekend has raised questions about whether July's prescription of Palestine Action as a terrorist group is not just impacting police resources, but as the MP for Walthamstow asked, whether there is a risk the seriousness of the term terrorism is becoming diluted due to the number of people being arrested for protesting against a prescription rather than supporting Palestine Action's tactics.
Prescription was supposed to be about stopping those inciting direct harm and violence. Going after somebody with a poster testing the boundaries of liberty, many of whom are clear they don't support Palestine Action but feel strongly about Palestinian rights or free speech, confuses rather than clarifies the government's intention. People must be able to protest what is happening in Gaza, and the focus should be on what is happening in Palestine, not in Parliament Square.
Now, as a response, the government thanked officers for their hard work, but doubled down on the continuation of the prescription of Palestine Action as a terrorist group. And the question is, what will the protesters do next? Well, they issued this strong statement. These mass acts of defiance will continue until the ban is lifted, and there are simply too many people who refuse to accept this absurdly authoritarian ban. Now, on the ground, that means police officers will continue to make arrests for anyone who's seen showing support for this group, such as holding placards. Now, the organisation that represents rank and file officers, the Met Federation, has stated the sheer number of protests that are happening at the weekends is unsustainable for their officers. But they did answer a question that many of our viewers will be thinking, well, when it comes to policing operations around the capital, what's happening? And they gave this response.
Officers are under immense pressures with work. They're being pulled from their day jobs into London. It's been relentless over the last few months, and doesn't seem to be any break in that. We are resilient. We are calling officers from other areas to come in and assist, so we will always have the capability to police London as business as usual. It just means that more rest days are being cancelled and more officers are having less time at home.
This weekend, more protests are planned from a variety of different groups, which means there's more likely we'll be seeing more arrests going forward.
OK, Antoine, thanks very much. Thank you. Now, still to come, as summer slips away, Sally has the weather, and we've some vocal sunshine too. KC from KC and the Sunshine Band is here, bringing famous disco classics to the West End. But first, Ray Winstone is the Londoner through and through, with a career so remarkable he's been honoured in a way often reserved for royalty. The actor has joined the likes of the late Queen and Dame Judi Dench to be carved into a bust by one of Britain's most sought-after sculptors. Now a resident of Epping, Ray had a lot to say about recent events there too. He spoke to our reporter, Rags Martel.
Oh, getting ready for a long sitting.
Am I all right there, Ray?
Ray Winstone is about to be sculpted into a bust.
What's it going to be like to have a sculpture made of you?
I don't know until it's finished. Still, it's quite an honour and all, because Frances is, well, she's one hell of an artist.
And it's going to take 2 hours just kind of sitting still, at least. Are you okay with that?
Do you know what? I'm very good at doing nothing. But I'll be sitting here, yeah, doing nothing and shutting up. That's probably the most difficult part, is I can't talk. Do you want me to smile a bit?
The live sculpting is done by royal sculptor Francis Siegelman in front of an audience, all in support of Blesma, the charity for limbless veterans.
I'm going to be using calipers. I'm going to be measuring his head and going backwards and forwards from there, many, many, many measurements until it looks like him.
Do you know me?
No. Ray Winstone is now part of Hollywood royalty, starring in Oscar-winning films like The Departed. But despite his international success, he still lives in Essex, near Epping Forest.
Have you been looking at what's going on at the hotel?
Something was going to give, wasn't it? You know, I guess.
What do you think about that? Are you pro-hotel? Which side, which camp would you stay in? Pro-hotel, anti-hotel?
I think it's got to be anti-hotel. The thing that worries me is there are genuine people who come here who need help, but there's also people that don't. And if you haven't got the right paperwork to prove who you are, you shouldn't be here. At the moment, through the government we have, and governments we've had before, there's a lot of unrest.
Lots of flags going up in Epping as well. Should we be flying our flags with pride?
Yes, we should be flying our flags. Why should it be taken over by the far right? As we say, are we far right for putting the cross of St George up? It's our flag. Doesn't belong to no one else. It belongs to us.
Ray, what do you think so far?
So far, yeah, it's good. It's easier than I expected. I've just got to sit here and do nothing, really. This is the genius, not me.
Despite being one of the most well-known actors of his generation, and on this occasion in a room full of busts of titled royalty and celebrities, the 68-year-old has no title and is still just Ray.
It could be Sir Lord Winston.
I doubt that very much. Why should I have a title for doing something I like doing? That's ridiculous.
Well, you're going to have a statue. Maybe that's better.
That'll do. I'll be happy with that.
And at the end of the night, a crucial finishing touch.
Quick final word, what do you think?
I can't see without my glasses on. But it's kind of amazing, isn't it? Really.
The royal sculptor said Ray was the best person who'd ever sat for her. As for the bust, that will take another couple of months to complete. Rags Martel, ITV News, at the Chelsea Barracks.
Now let's find out what's coming up on the evening news with Geraint.
The public inquiry into the Southport stabbings reopens. Impact statements from survivors and victims' families are heard, while the relatives of the 3 young girls killed in the attack say the inquiry must leave no stone unturned. Prince Harry is back in the UK, but will there be time for a reconciliation with his family? And the duo behind We're Going on a Bear Hunt drop in for story time. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, who doesn't want a bit of extra sunshine in their life? And who better to brighten things up than an absolute icon of disco with sunshine in their name? Harry Wayne Casey from Casey and the Sunshine Band is here to talk to us about his new musical. But before we speak to him, let's take a trip down memory lane with some of the band's classics.
That's the way I like it. That's the way
Oh,
who was that guy?
That must bring back some real good memories.
Definitely.
All back then in the 70s when you were just on every show and every radio programme. You were the best.
And then a lot of it started right here in the UK.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
My first tour was here in the UK. We did 48 cities in 24 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now you've got 20 songs condensed into a musical.
Yes, very excited.
All about your... Tell me about the musical. I don't want you to give it away, but just tell me about the musical.
It's not really about Casey and the Sunshine Band. It's about me and 3 of my friends growing up in Hialeah, where I grew up. And it's the story of the 4 of us up into the beginning of Casey and the Sunshine Band.
OK, and so I know that you've been very involved in the rehearsals, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Yeah,
as much as I can. I mean, some of it I've done remotely, and I've come here for the next 5 days to give my input and to see what's going, what's happening.
I've got a little surprise for you, because we can see you giving some of the young people instruction. Let's have a look.
You're the best in the world, I can tell. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty.
It really is good fun, and it's full of energy.
It's exciting.
It really is full of energy. So just tell me a bit about the band then. You grew up in Florida, and the band came together in Florida, did it?
Well, what happened is I ended up finding this recording studio at the back of a wholesale record distributor. And I went in there and I made this record, and I hired the studio musicians that were working at TK at the time. And I just called it Casey the Sunshine Junkanoo Band. There was no band, it was just me, and hired musicians. And that record made some noise, and then the next record made some noise, and then we had a deal with Mr. Kasner from the UK, and he came over and he said, do you have an album for Casing the Sunshine Band? Because I'd just written George McRae's Big Rock Your Baby song, was #1 everywhere. And he heard the Queen of Clubs. He says, that's a smash in my country. And he brought it back over here, and it went to, top 5 on top of Pop's chart. And the rest was history. It was like, now all of a sudden it's like, I never had performed before with a band or played keyboards and had to sing at the same time, and now I had to come over here and do 48 cities in 24 days. It was...
Wow. And you were so huge, it's difficult to even kind of express how huge you were. And you were being played everywhere, at the Super Bowl, at parties, at bar mitzvahs.
And what's crazy, we still are. That's what's amazing.
And do you know that, I hope quickly we can get in Tottenham Hotspurs, who also used you as a sort of icon song at one of their matches.
Right.
Let's have a look.
Yes, I just did that. That's amazing.
That's quite a feeling.
Yeah, it's great.
And just before you go, just tell us about the musical. It's on starts September the 19th, am I right?
It's Charing Cross, and it runs from September 19th to November 16th.
OK, and everyone come and see it, and come and dance and clap and have fun.
It's a lot of fun. You're going to laugh, you're going to sing, you're going to cry, and it's a great time.
OK, well, thank you very much.
I'm really excited about it, yeah.
Me too, I'm going to come and see it.
Get down tonight.
Get down tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Sally, just stay there a moment, because Sally, sunshine to sunshine.
I know.
But from sunshine to blood moons.
OK.
And I've got, sorry, but I'm not going to let you continue. I've got a question for you.
Where are we going?
But I've got a question for you, because a lot of people I know saw a blood moon on Saturday.
Oh, right, OK. So have you got a picture of it? Let's have a look. OK, I can see it. So that's not a blood moon. The blood moon was the lunar eclipse last night. That, I can see the confusion, that is a full moon that's low on the horizon. So as you get the light off it, it comes through the atmosphere. The blues are absorbed, and we're seeing the red. That's why it's red. But here's the weather.
Come rain or shine, Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Hello again. I hope you had a lovely start to the week. Look at this beautiful kestrel. Beady eyes, though, a bit like the Mona Lisa. It's watching you, isn't it? Well, keep an eye on the weather, little one, because it's a little bit changeable this week. Tomorrow, very much like today, not a bad day, mostly dry, the odd shower around. It's a little bit cooler to start the day and getting increasingly fresher as we go through the week, and becoming a bit more unsettled from Wednesday. And this chart shows nicely why. You can see we've got low pressure systems coming in off the Atlantic, bringing some outbreaks of rain with them, the best chance of seeing them if you want them on Thursday and Friday, getting a bit blustery as well. We'll keep you posted on that. For tonight, though, it's pretty quiet out there with those showers clearing off out of the way, a lot of clear skies, and those temperatures tumbling away a bit further tonight. So a bit cooler first thing tomorrow morning, a little more autumnal. There's a bit of mist around as well, and more of us will be firmly into those single figures as we start the day. However, there's also some nice sunshine around, and very much like today, as the hours pass, you see a bit more cloud moving in and a few showers here and there, but you can see they're pretty hit and miss, and many of you are likely to enjoy a dry day, just the odd shower here or there. Temperatures similar to today, highs of 21 to 22 degrees, perhaps a touch more breeze into the afternoon. And as we head into the evening, a little bit more cloud filling in. Should stay dry though, but for Wednesday, that weather becoming just a little bit more unpredictable, the chance of a heavier shower, and even more so on Thursday and Friday. We will, of course, keep you up to date. Have a super evening. Cheerio.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
And that's it from us. The evening news is next with Gearite. But for now, from all of us, enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.